How are you doing? I like it. That's the right color. Green. Green. Always good color.
Great.
Good to see you.
Hey,
Hi.
thanks for coming.
Scoop around.
Great. Thanks for coming out. Great.
Well, let me welcome all of our guests to the Capitol for National Charter School Week. We're here to thank these folks for what they do and to support the growth of charter schools across our country. This was a priority of mine when I was chairman of the Education and Workforce Committee and continues to remain a priority of mine, probably why it's on the House floor today. You know, a strong education system is absolutely essential to have a strong economy. You can't have a strong economy without the ability to educate the next generation. And when it comes to the issue of allowing parents to choose schools for their kids, I've been a big proponent of that for over 30 years. Why? Because when parents have choices, the kids get a better education, and the competition, nobody likes competition, but competition makes everybody better. If we're going to have a strong economy for our future, we've got to make sure that we find a way to educate more of America's kids. And charter schools are a big part of that process.
Good afternoon. I wanted to start out by sharing some words from A.B. Bustamante. He's a charter school student at Uplift Peak High School. And he says, "Being the first in my family to graduate from high school is an accomplishment I'm most proud of. My parents dropped out of the 6th grade in Mexico in order to come to the United States. Graduating will not only make my parents proud, but will also send a message to my younger sisters that with strong determination, nothing is impossible." I'm proud to say just a few weeks ago, A.B. opened a letter that he had received, an acceptance letter to the Naval Academy, and plans to become a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. It all started in a classroom in a charter school. And like many charter schools across the country, Uplift Peak is made up of 90% minority students and nearly 93% are low income. But their charter school has not just given them the opportunity for a better education, but a better career and a better life. As many of you know, my son has special needs, and he was in a charter school for 2 years. I've had the chance to tour many charter schools, and it is incredible to see the choices that are now available. And as a parent, I cherish the chance to be able to go out and see what's available and try to help make a determination as to where my son, my kids, will get the best education. That's what we want for everyone in this country, no matter how much money you may make, where you were born, or the challenges that you face. And right now, over 1 million students across this country are waiting. They're on a waiting list to get into a charter school. So let's help them. Let's make sure that they have the opportunities that A.B. had and that the students beside me have had to grow and to learn and to succeed. Our bipartisan legislation will do just that.
For some time, I've been encouraging my colleagues to go and visit charter schools in their district, around the country. And as the chairman of the committee, the Education Workforce Committee, I've had a chance to travel a lot of places. And whether I was visiting in Harlem, where Jeffrey Kennedy and his Promise Academies have given hope and opportunity where there was none. He is not only helping those kids and their families, he's starting to transform Harlem itself. I've visited schools in my own district, including one just a few weeks ago, Global Academy in Columbia Heights in North Minneapolis. It's a very, very tough part of the state. Kids there felt like they didn't have hope. Parents were looking for any opportunity. So this school, this charter school, public charter school, has about 430 students. There are 1,000 students on the waiting list. They want a chance for their kids to succeed. And so the bill that we have on the floor this week, a truly bipartisan bill, co-author with me is George Miller, the ranking member on the committee. We have Republicans and Democrats out talking to our colleagues. I expect this to pass in a very, very big way. And I have some confidence that when we talked to the Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, just a week ago, he indicated their support and they're going to try to help move this thing. We need to get this through here, get it to the Senate, get it on the President's desk, and open up this opportunity for thousands and then millions of kids.
First of all, I want to thank Chairman Klein for his leadership in bringing this bill forward. Education is the foundation for opportunity in our country, and it is something that I believe can break the cycle of poverty if we can afford all kids, such as the ones here with us today, with that quality education. We can actually make some progress in breaking that cycle of dependency and poverty. And I have, over the last several years, started to travel around the country and look at some of what's going on in the space of education choice. I started in my hometown of Richmond, where we have Patrick Henry Charter Schools, doing a phenomenal job in affording choice in education to parents and kids whose needs were not being met in the traditional public schools. Education opportunity is the civil rights issue of our time. And charter schools is an important part of that menu of opportunity that we must be affording so many families and kids who are right now being left out. So I'm proud to be here in support of this legislation. Look forward to its bipartisan passage in the House this week so that we can, on behalf of all these kids, actually do them justice and live up to that goal of the civil rights of our time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Leader. It is said that education is the great equalizer. We see that generation after generation. But to make that so, you got to have choice. You got to have options. And lots of times in Washington, you hear things that are just so partisan. I want to stop for a moment, and I want to thank Chairman Klein. This isn't a bill that's coming out of the committee by one side voting one way and another side voting another way. They put the priority on the children. 1 million kids waiting. That's unacceptable in America. Let's give them a choice and an opportunity. Chairman Klein did a tremendous job. Congressman Miller, we're going to move this bill out. But this touches almost every single district. Just within our conference, there are 178 members that have charter schools in their community. In my county, just right outside my district, one of the most diverse cities, low income, is a city called Arvin. There's one family there, the Grimm family. If you've ever eaten a baby carrot, you've eaten one of their carrots. They've been successful. They took a lot of risk to create it. But they were offering these scholarships to colleges, all within the community. And they found time and time again that they had money left over, that why weren't kids taking the options? You know what they did when they did the research? That the kids needed more help, that they needed greater choice, not at the college level, but the lower level to be able to get into college. So Barbara Grimm Marshall took her resources and created the Grimm Way Academy just 3 years ago. You know what happened last week? They won the California Distinguished School. Just in 3 years, they won the California Distinguished School. I've been out there, I've seen the faces. And I'll leave it with this question. Does this bill need to become a law? You ask these kids behind you, has your school changed your life? Yes. That's the only answer you need. Put politics aside, let's focus on the kids, and let's give greater choice in this country.
2 million families in America send their kids to a charter school, but 1 million families can't because their kids are locked in waiting lists that block them from their best opportunity to have a chance to succeed. That is a tremendous injustice because, again, each one of that million is an individual family that doesn't have a chance in America. I'm Luke Messer. I'm not as familiar a face as some of the others that are up here at the panel, but I'm the chairman of the Congressional School Choice Caucus, which is dedicated to the very simple principle that when parents have a choice, kids have an opportunity. H.R. 10 is an opportunity for Congress to send a message that we should expand access to charter schools across the country and give states and local school systems the tools they need to replicate the best performing charter schools and get rid of that wait list of 1 million students. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Great. What questions do you have?
You were perfect.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there's a question.
Passed similar language to this place in recent years, and I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you decided to take this issue up again now?
Sure. So you're exactly right. We passed a very, very similar bill in the last Congress, and it passed overwhelmingly, very bipartisan vote. The Senate did not take it up. This year, we incorporated into the larger No Child Left Behind replacement bill, reauthorization, Elementary and Secondary Education Act. We call it the Student Success Act. Passed the House. The Senate can't bring that whole bill up. But we don't want to keep the million kids who are on wait lists, keep them waiting. We want this opportunity to expand and replicate good charter schools. I think that there is growing understanding, bipartisan understanding. Our colleagues in the Senate are looking at very, very similar legislation. As I indicated, the President, the Secretary of Education has said the administration would support this. We think it's time to take what we can get, love to do the whole Elementary and Secondary Education Act. That's still a little bit problematic, but we ought to take this piece and open up this opportunity for those kids, and I think we've got the chance to do it.
Okay, thank you. Oh. Well, okay.
Follow-up, have you spoken to Leader Reed or Chairman Harkin, and giving any more specific indication that this year might be different?
I have spoken very briefly to Chairman Harkin. We're working on some other things, believe it or not, in a bipartisan way. I'm not sure where he is in going with that, but I know that there are a lot of senators who are interested and excited in this. And again, with the administration's support, I have pretty good confidence that we're going to see a bill come out of the Senate, and we'll have a law that will help these kids.
Okay.
I have a question for Mr. Cantor on another topic. You talked earlier about this issue being bipartisan. There's another issue that's coming up before the House, which has been part of a partisan discussion, and that's Benghazi. Mr. Gowdy has said that the party should not be raising money off of the issue of Benghazi. Do you agree? And if so, will you urge the NRCC to stop the talks?
Look, there's a lot of discussion about the creation of the Select Committee and around the politics of it versus the policy of it. And I know that, there is much being hurled about right now. And I think it's best for all of us in these halls to focus on what the reason is for the creation of the committee and to make sure that we affect the end that we're trying to set out to achieve. And that end is to try and get to the bottom of what else the White House is hiding. It was way too long that the congressional subpoena sat out and unanswered by the White House until a court of law had to come in and force the issuance or the release of an email which indicated that there was an intentional cover-up of the information. And this was an email which specifically tied to the White House the effort to mislead the public as to why and what was going on around the incident of Benghazi that night when an ambassador and other Americans were killed. That should be our focus. And I know there's a lot of other allegations around this, but we should stay focused on that issue and make sure we get to the bottom of it so the public can realize their right to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
11th grade? 10th grade? What college?